Hi everyone. In this given problem statement of house robber, you are a professional robber planning to rob houses along the street. Each house has a certain amount of money stashed. The only constraint stopping you from robbing each of them is the adjacent houses have security system connected and it will automatically contact the police if two adjacent houses were broken on the same night. So basically, right, it's a kind of a dynamic problem. So it's an 1D DP problem. So let us understand, right? We have given an array. So 1, 2, 3, 1. So initially you're with the 0. So you can rob the first house and get one, let's say 1 rupee or one gold coin, and or you can rob the second house. If you rob first house, right, then from 1 you can rob basically 1, and you can rob the third house getting 4, or you can again go and rob the house number 1 and you can get 2 coins. Similarly, right, you can directly jump in and rob third house or rob first house, right? If I look into it, right, and if you get the solution, right, the problem with the solution is going to be 2 to the power n, which is a big amount of solution, and we do not require such a big solution, because if we do that, it is going to give you a runtime complexity, runtime error. So how to solve this, right? We have to solve it using DP, as I have already told you. So here, right, we are going to use a tabulation method. Tabulation tabulation method. So here, right, what we are going to do, right, we are going to create a array with all the numbers. So here we have 4 numbers. So we are going to create, let us take this example, 27931. So here there are 5 numbers, right? So we are going to create this table, and initially, right, all of them are going to be 0. So for the first one, right, because we know, right, the first house can be robbed only in one way. So the it value is going to be 2. The second house, right, it can be robbed. Either the robber can rob the first house or it can rob the second house, whatever is maximum. So here, right, the maximum value would be 7. Now once we got that, right, once our initialize, we can write a for loop. So I can say for I in range, and right, the first two are already filled up, so I can say 2 to n. And here, right, let me initialize it with the variable dp. So I can say, right, dp of I, and this is present in variable nums. Okay, so I can say dpi is basically whichever is maximum. So I can say max of the so, right, if we have to rob, let's say this house, let's say ith house, right? So what is the possibility, right? Either I can rob this, because it cannot be adjacent, so I can rob 2 and 0, or the value could be this one. So I can say dp of I minus 1, or whichever is maximum, right? So it would be dp of I minus 2 plus the current house, which is going to be nums of I. So this would be our formula. So if we look into it, right, this is 9. Okay, so what would be the maximum, right? So I know dp of I is 7, and it is 2 plus 1, 9. It is going to be 11. So this would be our current cell. Then the third cell, right? So what are the possibilities? So either I can say 3 plus the I minus 2, 10, or 11. So I can say it would be populated by 11. And at last, right, this value is 1. So what are the possibilities of robbing it up? So I can say it can be robbed with uh, either I can rob by 11 plus 1 means this I minus 2th cell, or this one. So here, right, the maximum possible is going to be 12, so I can do that. And at last I can say return dp of -1, or the last variable, right, which is going to contain our result, and the result is going to be 12 in this case. So I hope you're able to understand, right, what is the idea. Also, there would be some edge cases that we need to handle, and when we are doing the Python solution, we are going to take care of it. That's all. Now let us jump to the Python solution. Okay, the first thing that we need to do, right, we need to create the number of houses that are there. So it would be length of nums. Once that we have got it right, let me initialize our tabulation array. So it could be 0 multiplied by basically n. Once that is done, right, I have to again calculate few more things. So what would be the value of dp of 0? So we know, right, the first house can be robbed only in one way. So I can say nums of 0. How the second house can be robbed? Second house can be robbed by whatever is the maximum of first house or the second house. So nums of 0 and nums of 1. Now that is done, right, I can write my for loop. So for I in range 2 to n, and I can say dp of I is equal to max of dp of I minus 1 or nums of I plus dp of I minus 2, whatever is greater. And at last I can say return dp of -1 or the last value. Now let me run it up, or I can say dp of n minus 1, that would also be fine. Now if I run this code, right, so let me run it. So if I run this code, right, I'm pretty sure there will be some errors because of the edge cases, right? Here it is given, right, if the nums is 0, right? So I have to write or handle the edge cases. So how to do it? So now let us take this example. If I can say if n equal to 0, then I can say return 0 elif n equal to 1, because if there is only one house, right, then I can say it would be nums of 0. If there is two house, then return nums elif n equal to 2, then I can say return max of whichever has the maximum wealth, the robber is going to rob it. So I can say nums of num 0 and nums 1. Let me give a space for readability, and it is done, I think. Let me again run the code. I hope the public test cases pass, and let me submit the code. It would be, I think it should work. Yeah, as you could see, right, it is betting 100% of the submission. And if I talk about the time complexity, right, because if we are solving and storing the values, right, the time complexity is going to be big of n. It's a linear time solution. Only caveat is that we are going to require some amount of space, so some amount of memory. So as you could see, right, it is consuming memory. So memory would be big of n because we are creating another array to store the values. So it's a pretty very nice problem for any beginners, right, to start with dynamic programming. Saying that, that's all for this video. See you in the next one.